so let's get going here and talk about this a little bit. Let me set you up with a little background information. Let me just get that. There we go. Let me just set you up with a little background information. So the application, the motivating application for this research, for this study is railway punctuality. And I just want to take you back a little bit in time. And here you see a fine little picture of how 50 years ago, communication from ground to train was manual. You actually had to hand up a piece of paper to the train as it was moving and say, here, I got orders for you. I have news. I have news for you. And that changed. There was a development in the 1950s and 1960s and 1970s where we were able to eliminate that communication through some kind of central control. This is something called centralized traffic control. And so with that centralized traffic control was the very first step in automation for railways and the very first step in greater data collection. And yet even with the centralized traffic control, you still have some human element. You don't completely eliminate the human element. And so then you run into some questions of you have to be careful about how you apply numerical analysis and how you make some assumptions. And I have a little story to tell. I had a long time ago, I had an associate who was doing some research, had a big, huge database of railway punctuality data from the United States. And he was running it through his analysis tools and trying to fit various regression models to this data and stuff like this. And he comes to me and he says, Stephen, I have been struggling. I've been working on this data for so long, and I have a really good fit, but for some reason, the data fits really good during one part of the day, and then suddenly, at a certain point in time later in the evening, the fit isn't there anymore, and the data changes, and I have to make a new model to fit the data, and I keep struggling with this, trying to figure out what is going on, what is changing, what am I missing that is changing the data fit.